Hi guys, welcome to Origin. This is my deconversion. The first thing people normally mention in this is their background. So, let's get started. My mum is... well, it's quite hard to work out. She said that she wants hymns at her funeral and a church service and all that. She's recently just persuaded me to try and go to this Christmas service, but I don't know if there's any religious reasons behind that or not. And at the same time, she said to me stuff like, when I did a short story in English, which involved God, just came up, not any reason for it. As she said, you're too old to talk about God. So, with her the evidence is quite contradictory and I can't work it out. My dad seems to be what I call a religious apathetic. In other words, he doesn't seem to care at all. I grew up with all the stories, Christian stories, but I think they made it quite clear that they were actually stories and that they didn't really know. Well, they didn't really say they didn't really know if they were real or not, they just said they always referred to them as stories. But yeah, I'm not really that sure what my religious beliefs were before the age of 6. And that's when the first major event happens. When I was 6, I watched a program here in the UK called Casualty, which I believe is still running. Thing about Casualty, it's one of those hospital shows. It's a bit like House, but more serious. And that was the first time I saw a death. I asked if that was what a death was really like, and they told me it was. So this is the first benchmark, because up until this point I'd believed that when you die you just fly up to heaven, or dive into the ground and go down to hell. But yeah, it quite scared me at the time, like really terrified me. Because it wasn't moving, there was just nothing happening. I was really, really terrified at this. So when I asked what was going on, they said, oh well, the body stays on earth, but the soul goes to heaven or hell. And I was immediately skeptical of this. Over time I learned about the brain and how it's responsible for all our thoughts and feelings. And that made me doubt the soul even more. In school, I've always been really, really afraid of being punished, so I would go along with anything they asked me to do in terms of religious stuff, like I'd do the whole bow down, keep your eyes closed and stuff, I'd do that, and I still did it in high school because I thought you still had to. But you have to understand, I'm really, really terrified of punishment. It's my Achilles heel, if you like. By that I mean anyone who has authority over me that either shouts at me or gives me, like let's say we're at school, a detention or something, I'd get really, really upset. Probably even now. Another event I can remember is that I was baptised. I can't remember when, it was either when I was 9 or 10 or something like that. I forgot to mention, I have a brother as well. I have no idea what his beliefs are. For the first 3 years of high school I was pretty much certain that there wasn't really anything up there, because nothing ever happened. Just the fact that nothing was ever being fixed or anything like that. But I remember the moment that absolutely clinched it for me. My belief slowly degraded over time. Any belief I had that there was anything up there degraded quite quickly. But I remember the moment that absolutely clinched it for me. And that was when I heard the words, God loves you and God has a plan, in the same paragraph. Two very contradictory ideas. Here's why. Does God really love the people that are in the third world that never experience a day of happiness in their whole entire lives? Does he love all the babies that suffer from a miscarriage? You get the picture. But up until I came across all the YouTube atheist phenomenon, I didn't really care that much. But when I first discovered people like TJ, which was really just at the beginning of this year, 2008, that was it. I was already Axis, but I created Origin on May the 12th, released my first Sims video, Meaning of Life, and that was it. That's everything up until this point. So, you've now heard the story. Goodbye.